The question was, can you do a video on, things that you stopped eating, like changes that I made throughout my diet? Because I've lost over 60 pounds and I've kept it off for over a decade. So what I'm doing works, right? It works for me. So what I always encourage people to do is to get really, really clear on what your body needs. Okay, so just doing a complete replication of what I do may not work for you because you are not me. You don't have the same attributes as me, the same likes as me, the same digestion as me, right? The same allergies as me. So it's really important that you get, clear on what's gonna work for your body. But I will share with you the changes that I made, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, my history on diet culture and things I used to eat and things I used to think were healthy, and how gradually, and that's always my message, is gradually make changes. That's been my experience for the most success, has been gradual changes. And I continuously do that. It's not like I've arrived and now I'm like, I know everything, right, about what my body needs. No, I'm constantly evolving and constantly shifting. And for the most part, what I've been doing for the past, I want to say like 3 years, since quarantine, is working beautifully. Because I've even lost a couple more pounds. I've actually lost like another 3 pounds since quarantine started. Got really, really lean, really just more defined, and made some little tweaks. So I'm constantly tweaking what I'm doing. And here's what I really, really encourage you to do as your first step would be to get accountable for what you're eating. You gotta get clear on what you're eating. There's no way to make any type of change until you first assess what is actually going in. You have to take an inventory of what you're consuming before you can make changes. So I'll give you a funny example, okay? This is a really funny example. So back in, when was this? Like 2007, you'll see the pictures. I'm like puffy, like 40 pounds heavier, puffy. My diet back then consisted of mostly carbs and sugar, but I thought that was healthy because it was like low fat, right? So I was eating, let's say, like Special K cereal. I don't even know if they make it anymore. Special K was just all carbs in the morning with skim milk, with a big fat banana, all carbs, all sugar, big fat banana with like a coffee and like sugary creamer. And then, for lunch, maybe I'd have like a low fat blueberry muffin from Dunkin' Donuts, right? Like muffin is just all carbs and sugar. So I was not eating to satiate my body. I was not eating to fuel it in the right way. I was constantly hungry, constantly looking for the next snack, and grazing throughout the day. And because of those habits, my body showed it, right? You are what you eat, how you eat. It's gonna show up. It's gonna show up. So one of the big changes that I made was starting to log my food. I started to do that in about 2011. God, that's a long time ago. That's 12 years ago. I started to log my food. That was my initial step in getting clear on what I'm actually consuming. Okay, so I suggest that to everybody. You don't have to do it forever, but just initially, that's your step, because then you can get clear. It's just like if you're trying to save for something, right? You're making a budget, you gotta get clear on where your money's going. It's the same thing with weight loss. You gotta get clear on what you're consuming before you make changes, okay? So then I started to look at, whoa, look at all the carbs and sugar in this, and look at all the carbs and sugar in that. And then I started to pay attention to how carbs and sugar, all it did for me was make me more hungry and keep me like looking for the next snack. And I never really felt full. So my big suggestion to you is, if you're trying to make changes for weight loss, is to ask yourself, well, number one is to log your food. Number two, ask yourself, what is this food actually doing for me? Like, why am I eating this? Like, I used to eat, this is another great example of just like empty calories. I used to eat baked Lay's potato chips. Baked Lay's because it's healthy, right? Because it's baked Lay's. It had no nutritional value whatsoever. It was just like paper, right? Or rice cakes, same thing. All that like diet culture food. And I would eat like the whole bag of it, right? So portion control is another huge thing. So replacing that kind of stuff with actual real food, vegetables, right? Eggs, things that have substance that are gonna keep me satiated and give me energy. That has been so key in my sustained weight loss, okay? And again, if you're just joining, I've lost over 60 pounds and I kept it off for over a decade. So it's really critical if you are trying to make changes for yourself, ask yourself these 3 questions, okay? How does this food make me feel when I eat it? Pay attention to it. Does it make me feel more hungry later? How's the digestion with it, right? Am I digesting it well? And number 3, like, is it making me crave more? Because I was starting off my day with so much sugar that like I was setting myself up to just crave sugar all day. But I didn't know it, right? And you don't know what you don't know till you know. And hopefully, when you know better, you do better. So now that I know, I use that mentality. Before I eat something, I'm like, why am I eating this, right? What is it gonna do for me? Most of the time, the answer is give me energy, fuel my workouts, provide me with, the nutrients that I need. So I'm eating nutrient-rich food, right? Like my dinner will consist of, like baby spinach and broccoli and sugar snap peas and eggs, things that are actually filling, not just carbs and sugar.